Okay, so we're going to solve one variable equations, and we're going to use like opposite operations, okay? And we'll talk about what a balance method is. A balance method is essentially, this is the left side of the equation, right?
Yeah.
Because it's on the left side of the equal sign, and this is the right side of the equation. And balancing it is just making sure that when we equate this, we equal the other side. So a balance equation or method is usually really good for checking.
Oh, I know this.
Okay, so the other thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about opposite operation. So our goal is to isolate x. We want to find that one variable. Okay, and what we need to do is, oops, sorry, wrong one. We need to isolate for x, which means anything that's not x, which is our -5, we kind of want to eliminate from this side or move to the other side. Okay, now opposite operation, whatever we do to one side of an equation, exactly.
So it balances out. So.
Exactly. So our left side and our right side here. What would get rid of or create a 0 for -5? What operation?
Like you write x plus 5 minus 5.
Yeah, so let's leave it as x minus 5 because that was the original, right?
Yeah.
And we'll have x minus 5, but all we're going to do is we're going to add 5 to the left side of the equation. And on the right side, we're going to add 5 again. So essentially what we've done here is we've added 5 to both sides of the equation. Now what we're going to do, and I'll move those other things down, is we're going to, let me just move these quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to simplify each side, okay? So -5 plus 5, what does that equal?
0.
0. So it becomes x plus 0 is equal to, what's 8 plus 5?
13.
13. Now what is x plus 0?
X.
It's just x. So in other words, x is equal to 13. Now, when you get good at it, you really don't need to include this 0 step. We can just go that -5 and 5 create a 0, and a lot of times they refer to it as canceling out. And it's not canceling, it's technically creating a 0, but we know the 0 won't do anything. So x is equal to 13. And if we plugged 13 minus 5, is that equal to 8?
Yes.
Yeah, so we know that answer is right. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one we're going to be isolating for y. Okay, so again, we need y by itself. So how can we kind of get rid of our +6 on the left side?
Well, you move it to the right side. So what you do is y plus 6 minus 6 is equal to 4 plus 6.
You're right. And normally they call this, we do it to both sides of the equation. Okay. Now a lot of times what you'll see people do is just move it to the other side, and we'll kind of get into that idea. I just want you to get used to the idea that we're doing it to both sides of the equation. So these two, like we said, create a 0, or some people call it canceling out. Now what is 4 subtract 6?
-2.
-2. So in this case, y is -2, and that makes sense because if we plug in -2 plus 6, we would get 4. So we know that's right also as our check. Good. Okay. Now, 2 other operations. This is 5 multiplied by x. Okay. Now, again, the same idea is a cancel out idea, but in this case, we're actually going to be creating ones. So what would be the opposite operation of multiplication?
Division.
Division. So in this case, to isolate for x, we need to divide both sides by the value of 5. Okay. Now, technically, 5 divided by 5, now, it doesn't cancel out per se. It technically creates the value of 1. Okay. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we have 1x equals, we have 3 here. 15 divided by 5 is 3. But 1 times x is just x. So again, the idea is that it does create something, and a lot of times we refer to it as canceling out, but we can kind of skip this one step because we know it's just going to create an x. Okay. And finally, same idea, this is division here. So what's the opposite operation of division?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So we need to take x divided by 8, and we need to multiply by 8. And then on the other side of the equation, we need to multiply by 8. Now over here, what's going to happen? They're going to create what value?
X.
Yeah, just x, or technically 1x, but it'll just be x. And what is 10 times 8?
80.
80. That makes sense because 80 divided by 8 is 10. Okay, let's go into a 2-step one. Now here we have 2 steps. So we talked about balancing, right, and doing the same thing to the left side and to the right. Now, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll refer to it as moving something to the other side of the equation, okay? So really, they are balancing it by doing a left and right side. But if I was to move this to the other side of the equation, or per se, if we were to balance it to create a 0, what value would we use?
Well,
If we had to get rid of this -3.
we do 7 subtracted by 3.
Okay, well, it won't be subtracted, because remember, if we go back to the other side,
Because it's the opposite.
we got to use the opposite operation. Yeah, so we have -3. What would the opposite of that be?
Positive 3.
Now, yeah, so technically we add 3 to both sides, right? And these create a 0. A lot of times they refer to it as just moving it to the other side. And remember, they really are doing it to both sides. So, but when we move it, we're left with 5x and 7. We use the opposite operation, +3. So we've moved -3 over. It became +3 on this side. And then we simplify again, so we get 5x equals 10. And again, they'll refer to this as moving it. We need to move the 5 to the other side. What would the opposite operation of 5 be?
That would be divided by 5. So 5x divided by 5 would be equal to 10 divided by 5.
Yeah.
So 1x or x will equal 2.
Exactly. Great. So we simplified. So really, we did balance it like we did on the other side. But this is like almost like a shortcut. Instead of writing it out twice, we know that really we just want it to end up on the other side with a new value. And the same one here. Now, technically here we need to deal with +3 first. Okay? Think of it like reverse BEDMAS. So if I was to move +3 to the other side, what will it become?
-3.
Good. So we're left with x divided by 2 equals 9 minus 3. And what is 9 minus 3?
6.
Okay, so x divided by 2 equals 6. And how do I get x by itself now?
Well, you move the 2 over.
Mm-hmm.
So because you're dividing by 2, you're multiplying by 2.
Great. So what is x going to equal in the end here?
12.
Exactly. And that's it. And that's pretty much all the steps that you need to know. We've done adding, subtracting, division, and multiplication. Those are the major ones to start off, okay?